Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to the channel. Be honest, have you ever tried on a pair of wide leg pants and then taken them off, not because they didn't fit, but because you didn't recognize yourself anymore? It happened to me on a slow Sunday morning. I reached into my closet and pulled out a beautiful pair of cream wide leg trousers I used to adore. The fabric felt luxurious. The color was timeless. I remembered how confident I used to feel in them. But when I put them on, something inside paused. Not because they didn't zip, but because I wasn't sure if I still had permission to take up space. Here's the twist. Wide pants are designed to flow, to move with ease. But somehow, when we wear them after 50, we start to question, am I being too much? And beneath that, a quieter thought. Am I still allowed to be seen? We don't talk about it often, but many women over 60 begin shrinking themselves without noticing. In the way we dress, in how we walk, even in how we speak. Not out of shame, but out of survival. Because we've been told that elegance means disappearing quietly. But I'm here to remind you, elegance is presence. And wide leg pants, when worn with the right energy and intention, are not just stylish. They are a statement of grace that has nothing to prove. In this video, I'll walk you through gentle, ageless ways to style wide pants so they feel effortless, flattering, and deeply you. You'll see real-life examples, subtle tweaks that make all the difference, and at the end, a simple shift in mindset that changed the way I get dressed every morning. I promise, it's not about hiding your age, it's about honoring it. Before we begin, may I ask you something gently? Where are you watching from, and are you wearing anything today that makes you feel just a little more like yourself? Maybe it's a favorite pair of earrings, or a blouse that drapes just right. Leave a comment if you'd like. I read every word. And sometimes your story is exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Let's begin with one quiet, confident step forward, and a little more room to breathe in your own style. Do you remember the last time a piece of clothing made you exhale, not suck in? I was in my early 60s when I found a pair of high-waisted, wide-leg linen trousers tucked away in the back of a vintage shop. They weren't flashy, no logos, just soft beige fabric, a pleated front, and a waistband that sat right where I once used to have doubts about my body. But when I put them on, I stood straighter. I felt like myself, but expanded. What I didn't expect was how wide leg pants felt more like a gift than a garment. They didn't ask me to shrink. They didn't cling or demand. They flowed with me, not against me. Here's a small tip I learned after years of trial and error. If you're new to wide leg pants, start with a structured waist and a slight taper toward the ankle. Pair them with a simple tucked-in blouse or a cropped knit top. It helps balance the volume and reminds your silhouette where it shines. But the real beauty of wide pants isn't in how they look. It's in what they release. They let go of tight waistbands and even tighter expectations. They forgive. They move. They say, you've lived. You've earned ease. You know, there's this silent pressure many of us feel after 50 to disappear from style conversations. To dress age appropriately, which often means invisibly. But wide pants quietly rebel against that. They carry a message. I'm still here, and I'm not asking for permission. Did you know that in a 2022 style survey for women 55 plus, comfort ranked higher than trend for the first time in over a decade? That tells me something. We're no longer dressing to impress. We're dressing to express. So here's my question for you. What's one piece of clothing that has helped you feel more at ease in your body lately? Not more stylish, not more youthful, just more yourself. Leave a comment below. Your words could be a soft mirror for someone else today. Now, let's move forward, because the next part is where we talk proportions and how to make wide pants work for your shape, not against it. Have you ever looked in the mirror wearing wide pants and thought, why do I feel like I'm being swallowed whole? I remember trying on a pair of gorgeous cream palazzo trousers one summer afternoon. The fabric was heavenly, the movement, like poetry. But when I glanced in the mirror, something felt off. My top was flowy too, and instead of looking chic, I felt like a sail in the wind. Not grounded, not me. That's when I learned what no one teaches us in dressing rooms. Volume needs definition. It's not about squeezing or shaping. It's about framing. Like placing a delicate watercolor inside a simple wood frame. It lets the beauty breathe, but gives it context. Here's a gentle styling tip that changed everything for me. When you wear wide leg pants, balance them with a top that defines your waist or your shoulders. That could mean a slim-fitting blouse, a soft wrap top, or even a lightweight shirt you half tuck in. Add a belt, not to cinch, but to center. If your pants are high-waisted, let them shine. Show that waistline with pride. And if you don't feel like defining your waist, then define your neckline. A V-neck, a softly structured collar, even a scarf that draws the eye upward. It's not about rules. It's about remembering your shape deserves to be seen. I used to think definition meant discomfort, that the moment I added structure, I'd feel restricted. But the truth? The right balance doesn't confine you. It anchors you. And for women over 50, especially those of us navigating shifting bodies and shifting roles, that little sense of anchor, it matters. A recent article from More magazine pointed out that women who embrace conscious proportions report feeling more confident in social settings. Not because they look thinner, but because they feel composed. There's a quiet dignity in that. So let me ask you this gently. What part of your body have you been hesitant to define lately? Not because you don't love it, but because you're still learning how. Share it in the comments. You might be surprised how many of us feel the same. Coming up next, we'll explore the role of shoes and how the right pair can completely shift the story your wide pants are telling. Let's keep walking together. Have you ever put on the perfect outfit and then hesitated at the shoes, like they could undo everything? I once had this pair of wide-leg navy trousers I adored. I'd paired them with a crisp, tucked-in blouse. My hair was done, my earrings caught the light just right. But when I looked down, I was wearing flats that dragged the whole look down with them. Not because they were simple, but because they didn't lift me. I learned that with wide pants, your shoes don't just finish the outfit, they anchor it. Here's the truth. Wide leg trousers demand presence. And your shoes? They set the tone. One small but powerful trick. Always show a hint of your ankle or the top of your foot. It breaks the visual heaviness and adds grace. A low block heel, a pointed flat, even a sleek loafer can all work, as long as they elongate rather than interrupt. My personal go-to, a soft almond toe mule with just enough lift to let the panhem glide, not puddle. It makes me feel grounded, not just physically, but emotionally, like I've decided to stand in who I am. And here's the deeper insight no one talks about. After 50, our relationship with our feet changes. We've walked through decades. We've stood for others. Sometimes, we've stood alone. Choosing the right shoe isn't vanity. It's self-respect. In a 2021 AARP wellness survey, over 60% of women over 55 said they'd compromise comfort for style in their earlier years. But now, they were seeking balance, not giving up beauty, just finding it with more wisdom. So let me ask you this. What's one pair of shoes you wear not just because they look good, but because they remind you who you are when you stand tall? Drop it in the comments. Whether it's a simple sandal or a vintage heel that still whispers memories, I'd love to hear. Next, we'll talk color. Because sometimes the most elegant thing about white pants is not what they are, but what they say. Let's keep flowing. Do you ever open your closet, pull out a pair of beautiful white leg pants, and then freeze because nothing on top feels right? I remember standing in front of the mirror one quiet Sunday morning, wearing a pair of soft dove gray trousers I loved. I tried pairing them with prints, with contrast, with color, and nothing felt like me. Until I pulled out a gray cashmere sweater in the exact same tone, slipped it on, looked again, and something clicked. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but I felt quietly elegant, composed, like I wasn't trying, but I'd already arrived. That's the magic of monochrome, especially after 50. Not matchy-matchy, but flow, like different shades of one story. Here's a practical styling tip. Choose wide pants in a neutral base, like taupe, ivory, navy, or olive, and pair them with a top in a similar tone, even if the textures differ. A linen pant with a silk blouse. A jersey pant with a soft knit. Layer dimension, not contrast. Add depth with accessories. Think a long necklace or a tonal scarf. Why does it work? Because it elongates the body, and more importantly, it centers the eye on your presence, not just your pieces. The deeper insight? After 50, many women quietly fear becoming visually fragmented, like our lives, our bodies, our confidence are all in separate pieces. Monochrome dressing, in its own quiet way, stitches us back together, not to disappear, but to feel whole. According to Harper's Bazaar, women over 50 who adopt tone-on-tone dressing report feeling less self-conscious and more serene. It's not just style, it's softness with structure. So here's a gentle invitation. If your outfit could say one thing about how you feel today, what color would it whisper in? Tell me below. Is it oatmeal? Soft sage? Deep navy? Your words might help someone else rediscover theirs. In the next part, we'll explore layering, not to hide, but to honor the season we're in. Keep watching, lovely one. We're just getting to the heart of it. Have you ever put on a jacket and felt heavier? Not just physically, but emotionally, like the extra fabric somehow dulled your light? It happened to me one fall morning. I just turned 60, and I was getting ready to meet an old colleague I hadn't seen in years. I'd picked out my favorite pair of wide-leg cream pants, structured yet soft, like something borrowed from a dream. I paired them with a blouse in dusty rose that made me feel quietly radiant. But then came the chill in the air, and with it, the question. What do I layer on top? I reached for a chunky, long-line cardigan. Comfortable, familiar, safe. I slipped it on, looked in the mirror, and the joy disappeared. I looked shapeless, swallowed, like I was dressing to vanish. That's when I learned something I'd never seen in a fashion magazine. Layers can either shelter your softness or smother your essence. And the right ones? They whisper elegance without ever raising their voice. So let's get practical. When styling white pants, balance is everything. The pants already offer volume and flow, so your layers need to define or anchor you. Here are 3 tips I swear by. 1. Structure at the shoulder or waist. A cropped jacket that ends at the top of your hip. A long-line blazer that gently nips in at the waist. A trench coat belted loosely to suggest, not squeeze. These shapes draw the eye upward and celebrate your frame without clinging. 2. Fabric speaks. Let one element be fluid and the other firm. Wide linen pants with a cotton shirt jacket. Soft jersey trousers with a crisp denim topper. When your pieces talk in contrast, your outfit feels like a conversation, not a monologue. 3. Length with intention. Avoid layers that cut you off mid-thigh unless they're tailored. That length, when unstructured, can drown your silhouette. Instead, aim for pieces that either hug the top third of your body or intentionally flow beyond the knees to create continuity. And here's something deeper, beyond fabric and fit. For many women over 50, layering is emotional armor. We've been taught that as we age, we should soften, shrink, become less visible. So we reach for cardigans that cocoon, jackets that hide, pieces that feel like protection but act like permission to disappear. But you, my beautiful friend, do not need to disappear. You are allowed to take up space in pants that flow, in layers that speak, in looks that say, I'm still here, still me, just more whole. There's a powerful study from Aging and Society that found women over 55 who wore outfits with intentional layering reported a 23% increase in self-confidence during social interactions. Not because the clothes changed them, but because the right pieces let them be fully themselves. So tell me, what's one layering piece in your wardrobe that doesn't just warm your skin, but warms your spirit? Leave it in the comments. Your story could be the one someone else needs to remember their shape. And now, let's step into motion. Because wide pants, when styled with care, don't just elevate your outfit, they free your day. In the next part, we'll explore movement-friendly elegance that doesn't chase youth, but honors every graceful step forward. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, adjusted your blouse, tugged at your waistband, changed your shoes twice, and still felt like something wasn't quite right? I remember one Sunday brunch. I had on my favorite wide-leg navy pants. They flowed like poetry, paired with a soft white blouse, cinched just slightly. Everything fit, technically, but still, I kept fidgeting, smoothing, shifting. I was dressed, but not present. Then my friend Sheila walked in. Same age as me, same gray streaks. She wore wide pants too. Hers were linen, a bit wrinkled. Her shirt wasn't tucked. No statement necklace. But you know what she did wear? An ease that lit up the whole room. Her shoulders weren't slouched. Her smile came first. Her outfit didn't announce her, she announced the outfit. That moment taught me something I wish someone had said to me sooner. Confidence doesn't come from a perfect fit. It creates the perfect fit. Now, don't get me wrong. Tailoring matters. Proportions matter. But once the fabric meets your form, you are the final stitch. The way you walk, the way you claim your space, the way you believe you deserve to be seen. So, here's a tiny tip that changed everything for me. Before you leave the house, look in the mirror and say something kind, out loud, to yourself. Something like, this color suits the piece I've earned, or these pants, they've got stories to walk through. It sounds silly, maybe. But studies from the University of Michigan show that self-affirmation before a social interaction increases poise and perceived confidence by nearly 30%. Not because you fake it, but because you remember yourself. And if you're ever unsure about a piece, whether it flatters you, whether it's too much, ask yourself this. Would I wear this if no one was watching, but I still wanted to feel beautiful? That's your answer. And confidence? It tailors everything. Blouses hang better, pants sway instead of stiffen, and your presence becomes the signature. So, I'd love to know, what's one outfit that always brings you home to yourself? Not because of how it looks, but how it makes you feel. Leave a comment. You might remind someone that beauty is not a number, it's a knowing. And now, as we near the end of this journey, we'll land on the softest truth of all, because the most elegant thing you can ever wear has nothing to do with fabric. Stay with me. What if the wide pants in your closet weren't just fabric, but a soft form of freedom you hadn't fully claimed yet? I still remember the first time I wore palazzo pants. They were cranberry red, a little louder than I usually went for. I was 54, walking into an evening concert alone. I hesitated in the mirror. They swished when I walked. They whispered, "Not look at me, but I'm still here." That night, I didn't tug at my hem once. It's strange how pants, just pants, can become a turning point. Maybe for you, it's that taupe pair with a forgiving waistband you reach for on slow Sundays, or the crepe black ones you wore when you made that big decision no one knew about. Here's a quiet styling tip that turns clothing into conversation. When choosing wide pants, pair them with a memory, a scent, a story. It doesn't have to match. It just has to matter. A silk scarf from your daughter, a vintage pin from a market you wandered through at 42. What you wear with it brings your story forward. And that, my friend, is what elegance truly means. Because wide pants don't hide the body, they reveal the rhythm, your rhythm, the one that doesn't need permission or apology. And did you know? In a study by Age UK, women over 60 who described their style as expressive also reported higher daily well-being, regardless of health or income. Because when you wear a piece that feels like you, your brain registers it as a form of grounding. So today, ask yourself this gentle question. If my pants could speak, what would they say I've walked through and still risen from? You might be surprised by the answer, and I hope you share it below. Your memory might just be the moment of courage another woman needs. Let's take a breath together now. We didn't just talk about pants. We talked about movement, confidence, and the courage to take up space again, not in noise, but in knowing. So tonight, maybe, just maybe, open your closet. Choose a pair of wide pants. Step into them slowly. Not to go anywhere, just to remember. These legs have carried you through decades. These hips have heard laughter, sorrow, silence, and they still sway like they have more to say. What part of today's video stayed with you? Was it the idea of balance? The monochrome magic? Or maybe the thought that your pants carry memory too? Leave a comment below. I read every single one, and truly, they stay with me longer than most clothes ever could. And if this felt like someone finally saw your quiet power, I'll be right here, with soft words and room for your story.